Welcome in, guys, to One Piece chapter 1084. Today, we're joined by the one and only Leo. He grew, I think, what seems to be 6 feet tall. He also changed skin colors, and he lost his wings, but you know how it is. And me, Sai. We're both here today to murder a celestial dragon, you know, it's casual Tuesday.
Wait, Leo doesn't have wings?
Oh, he doesn't? Oh, dang. Tontatas, man. Tontatas, bees, flies, bugs, insects, all the same to me. You know, I don't like giants. I don't like little people. It is what it is.
I just remembered, though, Leo does have a devil fruit.
Yeah.
That's kind of...
Like, I think 3 of the Tontatas have devil fruits. They're kind of cracked, right?
There's a lot of, actually. Like,
there's like
has a broken
bee devil
one.
fruit, a beetle devil fruit, and they have the healing devil fruit. And then Leo has one, too.
Which is
the stitching devil fruit.
Now that I think about it,
they have a lot of devil fruits, but it makes sense because they're farmers.
Leo could have been Doflamingo's right-hand man.
I feel like they all could have been,
and
right?
Then the stitch. No, but the stitch and string.
I mean, sure.
Like, wait, but like, because I'm pretty sure Leo does need string. Like, I think when he stitched up Robin, like he pulled out like a little bit.
He has like an infinite sewing needle, right?
Something, maybe, but like imagine Doflamingo Leo combo. That might be one of the cleanest combos. You know what I mean? Like Doflamingo's like, here, Leo, and then he just puts out a string, and then Leo's like, I got you, and then he's. I mean, that would never happen, obviously, but like it's kind of. In terms of wombo combos, it's kind of a cool one, you know?
I mean, utility-wise, I feel like it'd be okay. Power-wise, I'm not really too sure how that would fly.
I mean, power. What power is the stitch through, anyways? Like, it's not really that cracked of a.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like it'd be cool for like a little gimmick, but after a while, it's gonna be like, well, you know, high tier fighters are just gonna smash through that combo.
Yeah, but what if it's Doflamingo's birdcage strings and his Conqueror's hockey coated, like armament coated strings? Now,
okay, cracked. But we can apply the Conqueror's coding thing to any character though, right? Like imagine I say, well, Axe Head Morgan's coming back and his axe it's blackened. It's a blackened blade. He has Conqueror's hockey.
Yeah, but there's no
like, you
wombo
can use that for anything,
for that. But Leo having Conqueror-coded string, now if he tied up Robin, which he did, she's not getting out, right? Like, there's no breaking that, which, you know, Doflamingo would really appreciate considering what we learned in SBS, but...
If we buff them up times 100, some characters won't stand a chance. I love that. I mean, I don't disagree. Like, it would be a nasty combo, but would it be the best combo out there?
Hey, I'm gonna put it out there. Maybe Doflamingo and Leo. Kaido might be a little worried, you know?
Yeah, he starts sweating. Doflamingo was scared about like Jack, King, and Queen, but God,
if he had Leo,
the minute he had Leo, it's like Big Mom, right? Like Big Mom was like, "Oh, the minute I get the Giants, I'm gonna rule the world."
Now
that's
that I think about
Doflamingo with
it, though,
Leo.
Like the fact that, because they were kind of like Doflamingo was like oppressing the Tontatas, right, to a certain extent. It's kind of interesting how that like parallel was there, because he was using Manchuri, but imagine, because like Doflamingo had a missing slot. He didn't have Ace, and like we don't know if like Ace was supposed to be there, but like Leo could have been his Ace
or the heart, right? I think it was the heart that's missing.
Was it?
Because Corazon, yeah.
Oh,
the heart was Corazon,
but he was also missing the Ace too, I believe. The Ace,
right?
Yeah, because he didn't have he had the king Jack, Queen, like the
Don Quixote family.
Did they have?
I like how Doflamingo was the last cover page, but we're like tying it back to this one. It was Diamante.
I mixed it up. Yeah,
it was,
I mixed it up.
It was that, right?
It was that in Kaido's structure, he had King, Queen, Jack. Doflamingo would be the Joker, and Kaido was missing
and then Dofi has the suits. Yeah, Ace was never a thing. Yeah. We got the cover page here with all the One Piece girls. Not bad. I think the one thing that people have really like latched onto is the titmonger from Vivi, as well as the Thousand Sunny being hugged by Yamato.
Yeah. The Yamato for Nakama, is that the play?
Yamato for Nakama's the play. It's either that or Otis just teasing it.
Yeah, but then if you said that, then it's like Tama, Vivi, which are fair, and then Koala, right? Koala's not coming on the ship. Stop that. Stop that noise.
Koala's not coming on.
Yeah, come on. Oh, wait, now that I realize it, Jinbei's on the ship, so, like, Koala is technically accepted, but it's fine.
Yeah, no, she wouldn't be turned down, right? All she has to say is, hey, I know Sabo, and then Luffy would be like, oh, cool. All right, you want to join?
Imagine, like, you know, like, he allowed Caribou, like, he's like, yeah, you seem like a changed person. He looks at Koala, he's like, no.
Yeah, there's not a lot of people that Luffy would turn down.
Yeah.
Unless you have, like, a lack of a dream.
Yeah.
Then, you know, like, you're probably gonna be let on.
I kind of want, like, someone to ask Luffy, and they're like all like the perfect person, and Luffy's just like, no.
They're like a strong character. They have a skill set that's unique to the crew. Crazy design. They got the history. They know people on the crew too.
Yeah.
And then Luffy's like, nah, you're not joining, man.
Like they could be like binded, like they could be under like a devil's oath contract under Luffy. Perfect person. No, like Luffy's just like, no. Honestly, that might be the reason why he wouldn't be accepted. It's like, I don't want.
And then we get a flashback of the tree and the horse from Thriller bark, and he's like, but those guys though, I want those guys.
The tree and horse from
yeah, because he looked at him and he was like, oh guys, you want to join my crew? And then he like start chasing him.
I was thinking about the King Bomb from Whole Cake. I was like, he was on Thriller bark. What?
No, like, I think the only person that Luffy really turned down was it was the Straw Hat Grand Fleet, right? And that was only because he was overwhelmed by their numbers. I feel like if just like one or two of them were like, hey, let's join the crew, Luffy would probably be fine with it.
I think it was also been talking about that recently a lot, is it was also the fact that it's like the responsibility, right? Like like he didn't know them. They all had different agendas. And he's like, listen, you guys do what you want to do. Like,
there's too many of y'all, bro. Like, I don't want to take responsibility. Like 5,600 people. Like, imagine Luffy did say yes.
Yeah.
Imagine Luffy said yes here. The next island he rolls up to, he has an army docking with him, right? Like, what they're gonna go to Zoe? Zoe's gonna be swarmed. Like, like, well, what do you even do there?
At the end of the day, like the equation that goes into Luffy's head is like, how much does he have to share his meat? You know what I mean? His reward, not his meat, but like the rewards that he gets.
Just make everybody starve.
Yeah, so like at the end of the day, when he said to Kaido, he's like, I want all my friends to eat, right? But at the same time, we had to think about it. It's like, what if you have too many friends? You can't feed all those friends. Some people gotta be enemies.
World hunger hasn't been solved yet. Please.
Yeah, and I'm not about to solve it myself. That's what Luffy was saying. Like, I'm not here to solve world hunger. I'm just trying to have my homies eat well, you know? Like, yeah, that's how it is.
That is how it is.
Do you think though all of these women on this cover, they could be on the ship, right? Luffy would allow that.
All of them?
Yeah, there might be a particular canon reason later on we could talk about, but like there's kind of like a trend going on with like Odin, Luffy, you know, similar perspectives on how to handle women, you know.
Well, I mean, when it comes to all the women on this cover page, I see all of them as allies.
Even Ulti?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ulti's an interesting one.
I mean, when Ulti and Luffy clashed, I was like, oh man, like in a different universe, they'd be best friends.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly,
like that headbutt really sealed the deal for me.
Something I was thinking about was I might make this like a short. Like when Nami took the headbutt and was like super devout to Luffy that entire time, Ulti might have gotten a lot of respect for like Luffy and his crew there, because they had that. Ulti had that kind of devotion to Kaido, right? So then seeing that with Luffy and Nami, it's like he might be like, oh damn, like, you know, something I've been thinking about is like Ulti might be Luffy's Nami, not like, you know, the weird like shipping thing, but like Kaido might have had like the put the horns on her, of course I'll help, you know, that kind of a thing. Like he might have done that with Ulti.
Have you so one of the popular theories like after we left Wano was that the Tobi Roppo were gonna join someone's crew. Like I think Kid was like a main candidate for like Ulti in page 1, and then that just never really panned out. We actually don't even know where the Tobi Roppo are. It's like, yo, like they could be wandering around here somewhere. I mean, not like I think we should run into them anytime soon.
Yeah.
Considering we just left them, but if they pop up in like 200 chapters, I wouldn't be too upset.
I don't think it's gonna be 200. I think if they're Impel down from Green Bull, then like Cross Guild. They belong in Cross Guild. They're the clowniest clowns I've ever seen.
I mean, the whole Don Quixote family could fall into Cross Guild.
Yeah, like at the Cross Guild is gonna be cracked by the end of this. The gathering, you know.
Yeah.
The great exodus.
I'd feel so bad for Magellan if he lost again.
Magellan's joining Cross Guild too. He's like, I'm done with this shit.
No, Hannibal though. What about Hannibal?
Oh, he gets Impel down. That's fine.
Hannibal's so dope though.
He'll hold it down. I saw some of the dialogue bubbles that you've been preaching about, that he's a cool character.
Why do you always doubt that some characters are cool? Like, you said the same thing with T-Bone. I was like, oh yeah, T-Bone's sense of justice is great. Oh yeah, Hannibal's sense of justice is awesome. And then you're like, oh, those lame asses? Like, you always doubt the cool guys.
T-Bone's different than Hannibal. T-Bone's different. T-Bone, like chapter 371, he got the respect from Zoro. He had the epithet, right? Like, T-Bone's dope. The problem with T-Bone was the lack of memory that I devoted towards these certain characters. Whereas with Hannibal, you know, I saw Hannibal. He just wasn't off rip one of my favorite characters, and maybe that was the anime's fault. And maybe if I stuck to the manga like I should have from the very beginning, like a true One Piece
the anime sealed the deal. No. He had the Fire Festival attack. What are you talking about? He's like twirling around his little staff.
Is that an anime only elemental hockey feat that I should incorporate?
Dude, he sets his thing on fire. I think he just actually like lights it on fire though.
No, but the thing is, so fun fact, the manga many times, I say many times, but like there's like 2 times in my head that I come back to. In Whitebeard's crew, there's a guy who with a flame sword, like he just has a flame sword, just like how Lightning Guy has a lightning sword. But the anime, they couldn't explain Lightning Guy, so they just gave him a lightning sword. But the anime, instead of just giving the other guy a flame sword, they have him light his sword on fire with a lighter.
Hey, that's how it is. Hey, it's because we saw it from Hannibal, man. The guy was taking notes.
But the thing is, I doubt that if that's in the manga, I doubt Hannibal pulls out. Maybe he pulls out a lighter. Maybe he does. But like, I wouldn't put it past the anime to be like, how does his thing light on fire? Oh, lighter, perfect. And they just add that in, and I don't. That's not Oda's vision. That's all I'm gonna say.
What if Oda was like, hey? What if Oda's like, hey, I need you to try that lighter, please. Like Oda's like sweating. He's like, guys, like I hope nobody thinks that there's such thing as elemental swords. We really need to add that lighter there. Like, imagine Shanks. Oh, imagine Shanks. He has a like lighter.
No,
yeah,
he like
but since he only has one arm, he has to call like his crewmate over. Like, hey guys, can you? He's like, Ben, yeah, Sop.
That
looks around like, I need
like
fire.
Shanks' real epithet is flint finger. Shanks, where he can snap and spark a flame, and he doesn't need a lighter because it's his hands. But like, if the lighter thing was a real thing, then Sanji, at like throughout the series, Oda would just have Sanji light his leg on with the lighter.
He has.
No, he hasn't.
Have you heard of the theory that whenever Sanji uses his Diable Jambe, like he just spins in a circle, and since he's spinning so fast you can't see it, he lights his leg on fire at the same time?
So that is. Wait, he can't see it, so he lights his... Oh, no.
He's moving so fast that you can't see his hands move down and set his leg on fire with his lighter.
I haven't seen that extrapolation, but theory. I have seen people pull from the data book saying that he's moving so fast that the friction is what causes it. But that's where it's like, you go to any of like the sources, they'll say data books are not a legitimate, like, I think that one specifically was like an article that like a fan wrote into the magazine. Like, that's at the end of the day, there's parts that Oda does give, like concept arts, but the text that's in the data books are not from Oda. And like, there's multiple sources for that thing. And so that's one of them. It's like, that's where the Minx, I think Tekking said the Minx one, and he, like, we talked about it on my stream, but it was transcended from that data book thing that Sanji lights his leg on fire with friction. So it's like, oh, the fur for minks, that's how they get electro, because static electricity. I'm like, no, because then Chopper, every person has fur at that point. Like, why can't they just use it then? And it comes from that data book that says his friction speed or whatever. And even if there was like, I think there might be like an SBS where it's like Oda's like, he's moving like Luffy's moving fast or whatever, and that lights it or whatever. We've both studied the SBS. There's times when Oda's hiding stuff, right? Like even in the interviews we see recently with the God Knight stuff, does Shanks have a twin brother? Redacted. You know what I mean? Like, he's hiding crazy stuff in the SBS in the interviews. But you have to look.
I can't wait till the next Oda interview, and he's like, by the way, guys, it is actually static electricity.
Hey, if it is,
have you heard of rubber?
Explain all the other electricity ones, because that's why I sat there. I was like, guys, this can't be this literally wouldn't make sense. Like, my favorite one is Doflamingo's overheat string, where he just like spawns a laser, like it's literally a laser beam. He's just whoosh, and he like slices off like mountains, and then people are like, oh yeah, that's friction. I was like, friction with what? What do you mean? Like, he's just rubbing the string together really quickly, and then we don't see it, and then the string shoots out and is a laser. Like, I'm like, all right, guys, I can't. If that's your take, that's your take. Like,
you ever see that SpongeBob meme where like Patrick's like, he has the ID and everything? That's me. Whenever somebody says it's friction, I'm just like, you know what? It works for me. It's all good. I'm down with it. Maybe it's just rubbing the string together. I mean, it could just be imagination, right?
Yeah,
like, Doflamingo imagines that the string can just. What if he's actually imagining this string creating friction?
That's what element. Well, not the friction part, but the fire.
No. I'm skirting the elemental the elemental portions of it. I'm going straight to his imagination is all about friction.
Yeah,
like Doflamingo reads books about friction, because when he reads books, right, we never see what they're about. That's my new headcanon.
Did we talk about this with page 1? He was reading the dinosaur. Oh,
yeah, we talked about that one.
Yeah. Then like, honestly, books are powerful. Maybe powerful, that is,
man. Like, Karasu probably only reads like crow books, right?
I would hope so. Karasu's cracked. Karasu is pretty cracked.
He don't even know about he don't know what that is actually. Yeah. He only knows about crows. He's like, man, I got the crow food, man. Like, people probably tell him, hey, nice soot fruit. Like, that's a crazy logia. He's like, soot? What are you talking about?
You mean the Karasu fruit?
Yeah.
Like, you just
come on, man. Like, are you wild?
I am the fruit.
Do you have eyes?
I wonder how that fruit tasted.
Probably good.
Really? Soot?
Yeah.
Soot? Whatever.
Have you ever had it before?
No, I haven't. But
it's kind of gross. You don't actually like digest it. It kind of gets like stuck in your throat. It's not fun.
Is it just like charcoal? Is charcoal just?
I'd say it's not like charcoal.
Because I just remembered, isn't Pepto-Bismol is just charcoal?
It's like a really bad dust. I would call it evil dust. That would be my One Piece name for it.
Evil dust.
Evil dust.
That's a dope epithet for. We got to get the good dust.
Evil dust Karasu. That's a cool name.
Yeah, and then the good dust.
Speaking of evil, though, Sabo, first page, burning 3 dudes alive, bro. Like, in their armor, their skin's probably melted to it. Like, this is, I respect it. I think more fodder needs to hit the floor. We gotta see more death. The stakes need to be ramped up. But Sabo over here doing these men dirty. He could have just knocked them out. He said, I'm gonna set these dudes on fire, call it a day.
The way you said that, I realized something. I was like, Sabo's main rebuttal to like the accusations that he killed Cobra, he's like, do you see any burn marks?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true, right? Like, hey, like Cobra would be ashes right now if I actually killed him. Like,
Sabo's just like addresses it in a court of law. He's like, these are the people I killed, and he pulls up a god knight or like one of these, whatever these people are called,
royal guards,
and then he pulls up Cobra and he's like, this guy, there's no burns, there's no dragon claw, like he's like, guys, how did I kill this man if there's no burn, there's no dragon claws?
This can't be me. It's impossible.
Yeah. Oh man, now that I think about it, that's I would be the best lawyer for Sabo.
Imagine Sabo like actually like stole things from King Cobra too, like he's wearing his chain or something. Like, I didn't do it. He shows up to court with his chains on.
The king, like his rings are missing. Like the key to his like throne room is gone, and Sabo's just like, huh? What do you? I didn't know he was a king.
Sabo's like running around in his wheelchair.
Nah, but like something I do want to bring up is the like official translation from last week, because 1083's official translation for what Sabo said about Cobra, their conversation was way more aggro than what the fan scans said. And like, so when Dragon brought up like regards like the assassination of King Cobra, here, like, this is the full quote. He says, King Cobra of Alabasta was known far and wide as a noble leader, a man of great character, but news does not always spread accurately. That's Dragon, right? And then
he said that's not accurate because Cobra's lame.
Sabo says, well, I'm sorry to King Cobra, but this way suits me just fine. I'm like, wait, he died. What do you mean? And then he goes, anything that gets the flames of revolution burning. I'm like,
oh yeah.
What? And then Dragon goes, I like that attitude. And I'm like, what? You guys are talking about a murdered guy and like the...
Hey, to be fair, they're not like best friends of King Cobra. It's working for them. They know, I mean, maybe they don't know yet, but Sabo didn't do it. Like you know, it's unfortunate, but the world is working in favor of the revolutionaries.
I get that, but Dragon comes off of like, oh, he was a noble leader, a man of great character, and then he's just like, Sabo's like, good, anything to get this anything that's provocative, you know what I mean? We're trying to get a movement going, and then Dragon's like, yeah, let's cook Sabo.
But you also have to remember, by them starting this movement, in a way, it's getting justice for King Cobra.
Hey,
it all works out.
That's fair. I just was laughing because like it almost felt like, because we read the OP scans and TCB one, and it was like trying to preserve their like morality and character in a certain way from memory. And when I compared it, that's what I remember. It's been like a few days since I remember what it was. But then the Viz was like, nah, Dragon's like, that's dope. Let's get it going. And I'm like, what? And then here it is. It's like, it's like damning evidence. Like Cobra's not even burned. Like, you know what? Back to the Dragon slander. Like, how do you see the dead body and none of like Sabo's marks on him? Like fire.
Not even like the dragon claw.
Yeah.
But then again, like Cobra's an old man. Technically Sabo could just like put his pipe in the wheelchair and then the guy would just fall over, right?
Not
like
Sabo
it would not take that much.
I didn't need you to say Sabo would pipe Cobra. That was not in the cards for this episode.
Like put a pipe in the wheelchair. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Which is funny later on in the chapter. Just all of like, cool. Cobra looks better in the chapter, but still there's like the logics of the situation Cobra's in, and it still makes no sense. But we'll get there when we get there.
It's always interesting when I think of Cobra's death too, because the more I think about it, the more I'm like, you know what? It probably doesn't take a lot of effort to kill King Cobra, right? Like not even like one of the like these random royal guards that Sabo just beat could probably take King Cobra.
He's already dying.
Yeah, like he's already dying. He's in a wheelchair. Before they showed up to the Reverie, he was coughing. Vivi was like, yo, like, father, you good? Like, he was not going to last that long.
And he pulls out the Asian parent thing, was like, oh, I'm not going to live any longer, but will you marry somebody and give me grandchildren before I pass away? It's like for, you know, in reality, all of our parents are like 50 and they're going to push to like 90 and they're like pulling that card for 40 years in your life. But then Cobra's like actually coughing up blood. And I'm like thinking about it now with the context of how that chapter ends. What if Cobra just gets a heart attack like from the last?
No. Yeah, he doesn't even get killed. He just has a heart attack. Maybe he gets a heart attack by seeing the character at the end of the chapter.
No, like again, we'll meme on this later on. Again,
we'll meme more on Cobra if that happens.
Don't worry.
No, it's gonna be so sad.
When people were saying like, oh, the light that was stricken was like Lily or whatever, and Cobra was the person. I'm like, guys, do you know how dumb that sound? Like, no offense, but like, if that was the almighty ruling of Emu, and all the Gorosei had to do to enact that order was turn around and kill the decrepit old man in a wheelchair behind them that's already on death's door, I'm like, that can't be it, guys. Like, at this point, Cobra's already gonna die. Like, there's no reason for him to be.
I was really hoping that someone would spout out the nonsense theory, which I call it nonsense, but I would have laughed so hard if I saw this. I was really hoping somebody was going to be like, well, what if Eam used the weapon he used on Leloucia on Cobra? like that is how far they have to go to take Cobra down. It's not like, oh, let's break the wheelchair, let's attack this guy that's already dying. It's, we gotta whip out an ancient weapon for this man. Like, this guy's getting blasted.
Meanwhile, you could just,
I would have loved that theory.
The thing is,
somebody
like,
please
what
do that
you
for
said,
me. That's so
like
good.
You just put a pipe in his chair, leave the room, walk away. Unfortunately, that is kind of deathly for him.
That's definitely for bikers, people in, like, pipes are scary, bro. Like, when I used to ride a bike and I was never good at it. I still don't know how to ride a bike, but
learn more about that on the 50/50 podcast.
In the brief moment I was trying to learn a bike, pipes were, whew, I always feared them. Nightmares about them.
Yeah. And so you have an old man that can barely move on his own. You lock up his wheels and you leave him in a room with no food. It's kind of, and then Sabo destroys all the food in the Holy Land too. It's, yay.
Dude, somebody said something so funny. They said that even if Eam, like, was an enemy and Cobra could, like, fight him or whatever, Cobra can't get up there because it's not wheelchair accessible.
No,
the Royal Throne is not wheelchair accessible. It's nothing but stairs.
No, Meridor,
I can't believe it. That's such a good observation. That's such a good observation.
The outside of the castle, they have, like, the airport at, like, not escalators, but, like, the flat escalators outside. Yeah. They're pushed by, they're not automatic. They're technically
it's
manual.
like slave labor.
But, like, they don't have that inside. And now that I think about it, it's like, that's kind of funny. I mean, no, that's not funny. Hold on, don't clip that.
Power and slavery everywhere. Woo!
Wait, that wasn't the bad part.
St. Charlos at it again.
I'm gonna stop there, but, like, yo, that comment.
Watch out, more, today I'm channeling my inner Sun Wukong. I am now Sai. I have permission to hit celestial dragons. It's game over.
Wait, I have permission too. I got permission first, apparently.
Oh yeah, sorry. It's because I called you St. Parlos. You switch characters.
Yeah.
Sorry. So Sabo runs into Bonnie, and they're like, "Hey, Sabo, Bonnie," and then they kind of, like, bond in, like, a brief moment, which is kind of cool because these are two characters who I wouldn't say they're more closed off than others, but like they usually have their guard up, right? Mm-hmm. Chief of Staff, we have Bonnie, who doesn't really get along with any of the other worst generation kids out there. But look, we
barely know if she gets along with her own
running
crew.
Together. Yeah, that honestly, that's fair. I remember back in Sabaody, like, you had, like, Bonnie yelling at her people to bring her more pizza.
Yeah, something.
You had her throwing food at her, had her own pirate crew. She was a menace.
Yeah.
But Sabo's getting treated with respect.
Yeah.
And it gets off screen, but they actually find the keys to the slave college, which I kind of wish we saw it. But I understand why them breaking into a room, beating up, like, 2 more fodder characters wouldn't be that exciting. So the more I think about it, the more I'm like, you know what? That's fair.
That's probably the starting room that Sabo
in. It could have just been that room too.
Yeah.
I
think it's just crazy that, like, because I like that, like you said, they're two very distinct characters, very isolated characters, but Oda found a cool way to connect them, and it was, like, in our faces the entire time. It's not like a surprising connection like Kuma, and then that ties, like, Bonnie's keeping tabs on the Revs despite, like, not necessarily
just,
like,
reading the newspaper.
Yeah, like, she's like,
Sabo's doing this.
I've kept tabs on you guys, and then she's still like, wait, you guys aren't, like, crazy radicals? And it's like, wait, so you haven't kept tabs on them then? Like, that's actually just you did the bare minimum.
She didn't see the celebration party of Cobra's death.
Like
yeah, she didn't see them blow out the candles for him. Yeah, rest in peace, Cobra.
She wasn't at that table. She would be like, huh? What do you mean? Like, I like that attitude.
Every time a king dies, you guys celebrate, you throw a party?
Yeah.
What's going on here?
You pour a glass of sake over your flag.
You pour one out and you hit the Fortnite emotes? What's up?
No. Oh, God. That'd be so... Oda would love that.
What a good meme. No, dude. I love the memes that can come out of One Piece chapters.
Yeah. And what's cool about this entire thing is not even them. I think the coolest thing was Karasu.
Karasu showing up as a crow. Dude, like, imagine, he's actually fighting... Wait, okay, so right now, he's still fighting Fujitora, and this dude's like, you know what? Crow, like, everywhere. That's kind of nuts.
So like, whether we think... Because if there's a character that has a Logia awakening, obviously the Admirals, like, Logia, they're, like, all, like, embody their fruit, but, like, his name is Karasu. His fruit name is in his name. Like, he's using the fruit as his name. Like, he's like... I don't think there's a world where you can separate this man from the fruit, right? Like, I feel like in the next person who eats this fruit isn't like getting a Logia, they're getting a mythical Zoan.
Yeah, mythical Zoan. Like, no model, Karasu.
Yeah, like
that's crack. Speaking of Sabo, he pulls out some more new techniques. He pulls out the Bonnie grab and he takes her up to the top. And you know, these guys are like, man, I swear I saw something here. I don't know what's up. They just keep on walking, and then they name drop the Phantom Room, and
I'm disappointed, Sai.
I call this like NPC like behavior.
Yeah.
Because, you know, not only do they lose their targets, which, you know, people are, you know, defending them, saying, hey, it's you know, they got like crazy helmets on, they got like 4 holes poked in there, a little visor, they can't really see much to begin with. And I'm like, you know what, that's fine. At that point, I just take off my helmet. But they also name drop the Phantom. Like, this is something you'd see out of like Assassin's Creed. Like, you're hiding in a mansion, you just like took out the bodyguards, and then you hide in a bush, and then the guys are like, have you heard about the king that only eats in his room at 3 o'clock? The same room that's right above us? Like, it's like, oh my god.
Let me write that down real quick.
Yeah, it's like, goodness gracious, man. What else can you tell me about? Do you know about Im? What about the Gorosei?
It's mad funny that you say like the helmet thing, because I was thinking the same thing. I was like, that's like the fatal flaw of like the thing, they can't look up. And,
just
like,
design.
It feels like a Scooby-Doo thing, like, or like any old like 2000 mystery thing where someone gets away in like an empty alleyway, and it's like, oh my god, it's a dead end. Where could they have possibly gone? And then they turn around. I'm like did no one think to just like, there's a dead end? But there is up, right? Like, there might not be down. Like, maybe that's not intuitive. And many times there's a sewer opening, whatever, and they go through there. But, like, for me, it's like, huh? And then, like, so many things, it's like the person's just on the fire escape, just looking down. I'm like, hold on, guys, hold on. And I give these guys the benefit of the doubt. They have their helmet on, but, like, you're right. Let me increase my visibility real quick. I'm searching for somebody, a very important somebody. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Like,
somebody try to explain it, and I like the explanation too. They said when you think about it, Sabo used Soru, and he probably moved at like superhuman speeds to where the guards just can't comprehend what's happening. I'm like, you know what? That's fair, but either way, these are still like royal guards, though. Like,
I like the idea.
I would like to imagine they have Soru too, right? Like, random Marines have Soru.
They probably don't, but like, I agree that they feel like, I feel like fodder elevates throughout the series, and the one thing that's like sort of missing is like observation hockey. Like, that's like random civilians in Skypiea. Right, like,
they have observation hockey. Yeah,
like these are trained military might of the world's strongest power. Hockey? Nah. But like, and you know, even if, let's give them hockey, I would have liked it if we, like, Sabo was using like a suppression thing, right? Like that isn't something that is going to be like in. Shanks is the observation hockey killer. There's like presence suppressing things in across fiction, and I think like, and I've talked about it, like, I think that that's 100% going to be a thing. And the spies in One Piece should definitely have that, where it's like, you can't just be like this monstrous person with this crazy aura, and then like hiding in a room and nobody senses that aura. That's kind of just weird, you know what I mean? Like, sure, Kaido can't hide, like, he's not the person to hide behind a pillar because he's Kaido, right? But like, Sabo's a trained spy. That's his literal occupation.
I read another comment that said, man, what if these guards know that Sabo's there, but they just don't want to die? They saw like the burned bodies, their comrades with broken armor, and then they see Sabo. They sense him, but they're like, "Oh God, the wind is crazy in here."
That's my.
I love that comment. That's so good.
That's the favorite one. That needs. I like that one.
That's so amazing.
I like that. That route makes even more sense. So it's just like they turn to each other, whispers. You see him, right? and
then one of the guards is like, just made eye contact, please. Don't say anything.
Don't lock eyes. Don't lock eyes. Even if you do, just keep walking. Just keep walking.
It's the Revs. They're here.
Yeah, it's just like, you sense him, right? It's like, yeah, like if I took off my helmet, I would be able to see him broad as daylight.
He's not even hiding, man.
Like, that's
he's
the
right
thing.
In front of us.
That's the other part of it is like, this isn't like a this is a well-lit place, by the way. Like, this is at no point inside the Holy Castle have you ever seen like a dark thing where you can tell me like, yeah, they're up like 50 feet and that's like a dark chasm that they just were lost in. Like, it's probably well-lit as well. Like, we haven't ever seen Marriage Raw at nighttime, like at this point. You know, it's kind of like,
oh, funny. Yeah. This is I love the line of logic because imagine if we got like a full like the rest of the chapter is actually these three guards having like flashbacks of their life and why they don't want to die. Like the guy remembers his first love, some other dude has a kid, another dude just got a promotion, and then the chapter ends and they're like, yeah, we didn't see Sabo.
No, hold on, this is so cracked. They have the Ace Sabo Luffy like sake cup thing. They're preserving their treasure with their lives, and they're like, you know what? My dream is to go back home to my family once I'm done with my tenure. And then they're like, me too. I want to write a book about what, you know, they all have the parallel, and then they're like, so we agree, we didn't see Sabo. Like,
yeah. I like to imagine Sabo could be walking right in front of them, and they would literally just say, "Ah, man, this helmet's really foggy today." Like they just keep on moving.
No, I need to see. Like,
that's too good.
You know what's funny?
We need a gag like that. I think that'd be a good gag.
I love that. And you know what's funny? We don't even see the like they go there they are, but like the thing is, right? Let's paint this picture. I know we're
there. They are.
I know we're memeing, right? Like, there they are. You are behind somebody, right? And they are directly in front of you. At no point did we see like Sabo turn a corner or do anything. He literally just goes up. He goes up. Like, you gotta think about it. Like, if you are somebody and this person disappears before your eyes, and it's like, I wonder where he went.
It's like Batman Arkham City. You just jump on top of a pillar, and then all of a sudden the guards just lose you. They're like, man, I don't know, man, it's the wind. Yeah. I saw a bat. I think it was a shadow.
Like, it's those times in GTA where you have like the 5 stars, but then it randomly bugs out, and it's gone, and the cop is like right in front of you. It's just,
yeah. It's like. They just, like, the stars go away right when you turn the corner.
Yeah. Like it's not even, like, Sabo didn't even, it's not like the car wash in GTA where you just change the color of your car and they're like, oh, it's the same make car license plate, but the color is different.
Color is odd.
Yeah, like, they see Sabo just, like, lights on fire, and it's like, that's not Sabo. That's not.
It's somebody else, please.
Yeah, Sabo doesn't light on fire. The Flame Emperor doesn't light on fire. That doesn't make any sense.
And it's interesting too that they decided to run from this fight, because like the more I think about it, the more I'm like, well, Sabo just killed 3 of these guys on his own. When we first got to the Reverie, Sabo literally killed 2 of them with like a singular hit. Like, what trouble could 4 dudes with Bonnie on your side could these guys pose? Like, what threat?
Yeah, and the thing is, Sabo has no qualms of killing them either.
Yeah, no, like,
so he can just go.
Even like, Bonnie says, "Hey, man, I owe you." Like, Bonnie was sweating. Bonnie's like, "Oh God, wait, how am I gonna eat tonight? I almost got killed by these 4 guards."
These are the Holy Knights.
These are the holy. Yeah, one of them is Shanks in armor. A Shanks lookalike. Oh man.
Now they think about it, Shanks should be in this flashback at some point.
Oh yeah, he's here.
Or Shanks, because, you know, I gotta
Shanks,
put quotes.
Spanks, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah, like, Slanks, Danks.
Somebody very Shanks-esque is here.
Yeah, like, we're not gonna say clones because that's just bad. You know.
Yeah, Seraphim Shanks.
No, but like.
Seraphim.
Imagine like Shanks just casually just walks by and just like, hey, What's up? Yeah, he should be here. He
should be here.
Technically, Shanks was before the next few scenes in the Reverie arc, right? Because Shanks saw them in 907, and then the Gorosei met Cobra in 908.
Yeah.
So Shanks is here. Huh.
What if he's in the legendary Phantom Room? Sabo goes there. He sees Shanks having tea.
That, you know what? I in my live stream, I was like baffled by this thing, and so much so that we didn't really talk about it in the live stream about like what this means, what it could mean. We kind of, because there's so many other funny things to talk about, or cool things, ideas.
Yeah.
But like, I don't think I asked you. Do you have like any idea about the legendary Phantom Room?
The legendary Phantom Room? I'm assuming it's the giant room we saw the Straw Hat and like the other doors in, actually. Because when I think of a Phantom, I think of like somebody that's deceased, and I'm like, you know what, Joy Boy's deceased. If those other rooms lead to other, quote, Nakama or, you know, mementos, I'm like, that could be the legendary Phantom Room. That could even be Eames' room, but I think calling it the legendary Phantom Room would be kind of silly. Like, what kind of name is this? Who comes up with the legendary Phantom Room? And
that's where I went, because it's like, if it were Eam, right? Because they say they're all gone because they saw it. Like, I want to wait for the official translations for this wordage, but like you know what? They saw it, and then they say the legendary Phantom Room. It's like, is there something attributed to the like, are they just terrified of a room? Like, is it like ReZero, where it's like that library that just kind of like he has to find like over and over again? Like, I don't know the full context about that. I just thought that was kind of funny. It's
a room that she can pick where it's at. So,
and that's the thing, right? We do have a precedent for legendary Phantom Island, and that was Zoe, which was the like legendary because it's legendary, but then Phantom because it wasn't an island that stayed still, it just moved. So it could be that this room moves, but like, what does that mean? Like, why are they talking about it? Very
phantasmic.
Yeah.
So when they say because they saw it, do you think they're referring to Emu, or do you think they're referring to like an actual object or something in the room? Like, what's up? Where did your mind go?
I originally, at the start, I'm pretty sure I thought it was Eam and then the flower room. But then I was like, why does that doesn't make any sense. And then when you read it like back, it's like, you haven't heard? You can blame you know what for that. What's that mean? They're all gone because they saw it. Saw
this
what?
Reminds me
the
of
legendary Phantom Room.
Impel,
and it's like,
down.
Like the Ivankov thing?
Yeah, because when people disappeared, they said, oh, you know, it's probably you know what. What is it? Oh, they got... What is it called? Like Spirited Away or something?
Something like that. It's like chapter 4.
God, it reminds me of that, actually. Sorry to interrupt.
No. Like, it's 430, 431, or 436. That's where that's at.
You have the chapters down. You got it cited.
If this is this could be a Gorosei power, but like, is the Gorosei really doing this like that many times to make
the Gorosei is like, oh man, I don't want this guy to come in this room today. Let's straight up kill him.
Maybe it's like, you know, like Krona, like Saturn, right? Has time powers. Maybe one of them has like spatial powers, right? Sure. But let's say it's a holy night. Because this theory does not work if it's it does work, but like, I don't want it to work with the Gorosei. If this is a God Knight power, then this is the God Knight that Usop faces. Usop gets lost in the Phantom Room and he snipes them through it.
I think
that's a Film Red reference.
No, that's got to be a Zoro opponent, man.
Wait, why Zoro? Because
Zoro
lost?
just gets absolutely lost. Like, he would find every room except for the Phantom Room. He would be this guy's worst nightmare.
The God Knight's like, I'm trying so hard to get this man into this room, but he just keeps turning around. Like, I don't get it.
That's going to be like a straight up Tom and Jerry moment. They're just like walking through the wrong doors, like at the perfect times.
It's going to be Usopp and Zoro. It's going to be an Enies Lobby throwback where Usopp is Zoro's sword and he tells Zoro where to throw his slash, and Zoro throws a cross-dimensional slash.
Hey, I don't know do you remember Zoro and Wicca? That did not turn out well.
Wicca?
Wicca is the Tontara from Dressrosa that was with Zoro, giving him directions on where to go. She says, hey, go up the stairs, and then he goes right.
I'm not even laughing.
Having Usopp giving Zoro directions would not work. That man he defies logic.
I agree. I think Usopp's the one to over. That's when he conquers Haki. He conquers Zoro's sense of direction. But like I'm laughing because we talked about this recently. I forget when, but you threw me through a loop by just instantly saying Wicca because you didn't say that the first time, which means that you like after that you like committed that name to memory, and you're like, you don't remember Wicca? I'm like.
Yeah, I think I called him the Blue Tontara. You catch me different times of the day, I'll remember different things, but
yeah, that's a.
I just remember because it was a really like different name. I was like, oh, I didn't think we'd meet a Wicca here.
Wicca, Picca, all these Iccas, you know,
all in Dressrosa.
All in Dressrosa.
So past the Phantom Room, you know, we're gonna get lost in the Phantom Rooms here in a second, but we see Bonnie saying that they're gonna go off to Egghead Island, which. It's so strange. So the Bonnie portions of this chapter kind of... I wouldn't say they threw me off. I would say they didn't throw me at all. Because everything Bonnie says in this chapter is like yeah, we kind of know this. Like it didn't really add much in my opinion. So I feel like we might get more Bonnie. Or what do you think about this? Do you think we'll get more of her? Or do you think this is actually where they part ways and then she's gone?
I think... she might run into like Vivi. I think it would make sense like for her to run into Vivi, and maybe because that's how Vivi escapes. I've always talked about that, like in terms of disguising Vivi, which we'll talk about later on for a parallel reason. But like you have a devil fruit power related to time, and that is a clean way. Like look what Bonnie did on Egghead, right? The pacifista is just looking at. Literally Luffy, Jinbei, Chopper, and it's like
hey.
And then
he's a robot. Robots aren't perfect, Par.
Like Jinbei literally just looks like the same thing. And what's worse is they had that Jinbei upstairs as a Seraphim. Like that like it wasn't like because they aged up Luffy and Chopper, but they aged down Jinbei to something that exists on the island. And then the pacifist is like, nope, that's not Jinbei. Like that couldn't be.
I'm just gonna say this right here. Actually, I'm on your side. I'm on your side. The pacifistas should know, since AI technology has aging filters right now.
Our world should not be better than One Piece.
I can hop on TikTok, I can hop on Instagram, and it's like, boom, do you want to age yourself up like 50 years? And it's like, oh, wow, cool, dope.
Vegapunk doesn't have that? Fraud.
And he's advanced? You're telling me this is the man that wants to bring technology to the world?
You're telling me
what is he going to show us, a toaster next?
TikTok and Snapchat are beating Vegapunk? What?
That's crazy, bro. That's wild.
Yeah. Like some random Russian company that wants to fish for all your information, so you submit pictures and then they age you up, and then that was the whole scandal with the aging thing. That's beating Vegapunk right now. But like,
and then they know Bonnie has an aging fruit as well, so it's like you think the pacifista would be like, oh, Jewelry Bonnie powers blank blank blank. Oh, she's using this on these people. All right, time to go home. Nobody's here.
the worst,
my target's gone.
Bro, crazy. But like, and so like, I think that makes sense that Vivi was like aged up or down or whatever. And then that's how, oh my God.
She gets aged up into TT, or not TT, Lily.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. So, and that fits like the later parallel we'll bring up later, but because on the Bonnie side of things, I think it would make sense for her to interact with Vivi. For the sole reason that at this point, like you said, dialogue-wise, she has not been meaningful to Mare Joie. And also, functionally, not functional. What has she done?
Yeah, Sabo didn't need her. Like, by the time like she showed up, Sabo, like you said, if the keys are in that very first panel, like Bonnie didn't add anything. If anything, Sabo had to save her once from like 4 dudes, and that was it.
Yeah, and we don't even think that she probably needed saving from these. Like,
she could have beat them.
Like she could. Like, and so like on Bonnie's side, we don't know why she's even at the Reverie. Like, she disguised herself as a monarch, infiltrated the Celestial Dragon's like gated area, saw Kuma, got mad, saw Sabo also get mad, and said like, hey, you want to inherit my will? Yeah, like what? Like, huh?
Yeah, isn't that like, I almost, man, if I was Bonnie, like, you already came all this way, you already snuck in. Maybe it's just me, but I think she should just help the Revs at this point. Like, be like, hey, put me in the operation. I can deliver the keys if obviously Karasu wasn't there. Like, Bonnie had so much to offer, but instead she shows up, like you said, she says, hey, you guys are saving Kuma? Well, I guess my dad's in good hands. Peace out. I'm going to Egghead Island. Like, you're already here. Like, they are also your best chance to get off this island too.
The worst part is her keeping tabs was so surface level. She doesn't even know these people. She's like, I could trust you with my dad, right? And I'm like, you don't even know what your dad was doing. You don't know how he became a robot. And the thing is, if you've been keeping tabs, then you know that while Kuma was with the Revs, he got turned into a robot. So if anything, Sabo might be a part of the reason why Kuma's that. And so she's like, like, I didn't know you guys weren't radicals, but I can trust you. And I'm like, hold on.
To be fair, I would trust the Revs more than the world government.
That's fair, but hear me out.
The lesser of evils. But I know where you're coming from, though.
No, I didn't even hit it. Bonnie is a worst generation member. These are pirates that just do their own thing, right? All the time. Give me one of the worst gen, right? That, like, if it was someone meaningful to them, right? Kuma's meaningful to Bonnie. That Bonnie's not breaking the world over for that person. You know what I mean? Like, how is she, like you said, like, she should be part of this operation to the point where it's like, okay, you got Kuma from here. You know what I mean? And I get it. She's delegating. She's like, I can't do, you guys got Kuma here. I'm going to take care of that. But it's not like, what happens if Kuma dies? And then you get, like, what is Vegapunk gonna restore? Like, because that's what she's saying.
The craziest part is that I think Bonnie should at least see her dad once, and she should at least have seen her dad out of the handcuffs, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
She literally did not see anything, and she said, all right, but I'm out to the new world.
There's not, like, a worse gen member at this point. Like, yeah, there's, like Apu,
yeah. Apu's the first one that came to mind. Maybe Hawkins too.
But the thing is, Apu still goes whenever he's in a situation, he goes to like extreme lengths for like his personal, like he is his own Kuma. You know what I mean? Like at this point, Bonnie's like entire.
What a cursed comparison. Apu and Kuma, 1-1. They're like the same person. Hey, Kuma can probably play music. Yeah, he's a robot. Yeah.
Yeah. Beep boop bop.
It's like a little stereo,
we got some EDM from Kuma. I would go to that concert.
Imagine,
he's
like,
dead now.
Oh, you ever see those movies where like those guys like will hop in and they like start shooting down all their bullets, and then there's like music playing in the background? That could be Kuma.
Yeah, it could be.
Like he could be like, queuing up Demi Lovato, boop boop beep, and then he starts shooting lasers everywhere.
We just get a random musical in the middle of this raid. Like while he's taking down Shirahoshi's
Hell's Angels just coming down.
He's just god.
Oh yeah, no, that's so good. No, hey. To keep this all in one, we're actually gonna go to the Shirahoshi part before the King Cobra. We'll keep it all together. Yeah. Yes, Kuma is playing Demi Lovato while capturing Taylor Swift. He's playing Taylor Swift and Rihanna while he's capturing Shirahoshi to drown out the cries of help.
Yeah, he's just like, what's the song with Eminem? Like, the one's like, burn this house. I forgot what it's called. Fuck. Just some crazy. Oh man, I need to look up the Rihanna lyrics.
I know the song you're talking about.
No, he's just playing work. Because work.
Oh man.
And
he's
Bonnie,
playing the national anthem.
Like the thing is, like at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
You can't save Kuma. You have other people that are willing to do it. But you would want to like mitigate the damage that Kuma's doing, right? Like by saving the people that he's attacking. Like that's another route that you could go with what Bonnie could possibly do here. But she's like, peace. I'm gonna go to Egghead because I'm gonna restore him. Because I have full faith that while you guys raid Marriage Raw, you are going to also liberate my dad. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Hey, maybe Sabo stole her heart, and that is why she trusts him. You know what?
Not the Rizzler. Not the Rizzler. He piped.
See, it is what it is.
No. Oh my God.
But I do believe too that Bonnie, we need to see more of her. I think a Bonnie Vivi like little connection would be amazing.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, but then the other part of it is just then we're not bringing Bonnie to the Reverie for no reason. You know what I mean? Because she goes, listen, let's run this back to at the beginning of Egghead. She's like, "Huh, man, should I tell them about what happened at the Reverie? What do you know?"
That's what I said too, bro. I was in the same boat. I was like, wait, if Bonnie leaves, then she only knows as much as the headlines. Like, Sabo was there and the commanders were there, and that's it. Like, she don't even know that the admirals are fighting. Actually, she knows less than the headlines. like Luffy knows Sabo was here. Like, what are you gonna tell him?
Bonnie's a fraud. This is a fake Bonnie. This is a holy night.
Yeah. this is what was her ancestor called? Dowager.
Oh yeah. That's the one.
I said ancestor as if they've been passed away for like years and years.
You know, that's a whole separate angle, actually, because when Akainu runs to or runs up on Bonnie during the Blackbeards, I forget what chapter, 593 or something like that. He goes, doesn't he say like the world government, like, I should give you back to the world government? So like technically like Bonnie's also like wanted here, you know, like to a certain extent, to the point where like Akainu is like, I can't kill you, and I can't like capture. How did Bonnie escape that?
We have no clue. We still have no idea how she escaped that. She has so much lore to her that she just hasn't told us yet.
Bonnie is such a weird character. She escapes Akainu, can't take God Knights. In front of her, like, enslaved father, she's like, peace later. And then she's on Egghead and she's like being counterproductive for the large portion of the arc, like for like the progression of it.
She's a part of Sorbet Kingdom. Her dad is of a different special race than she is. Like I mean, you're not wrong. Like, Bonnie is just so interesting.
Oh no! She's people
what a
like
fascinating character.
I don't blame people to think that she's a clone of Big Mom. Like, she kind of just does look like her, acts like her, right? Like,
and she eats, bro. She eats.
She's called the Big Eater. You know what I mean? Like
the big eater, Bonnie. Oh my god.
Bonnie is so. Oh man, that's a whole different cookie to crumble.
I'm sure she'll make sense once. Once the Kuma flashback's over, I hope.
Claps to Sai. Got the W, right?
Yeah. Shirahoshi gets captured. All the people are, leaving. They don't want to hurt Celestial. We've seen this song and dance before. It's nothing necessarily brand new. The only thing that's brand new is the fact that Sai and Leo are the ones who attack St. Charlos. And I gotta admit, I did not expect Oda to commit a double page for this. That was actually very surprising.
Yeah.
St. Charlos is getting a lot of love. He's going gear 5th. Do you see that?
He's about to awaken, bro.
Yeah, he's awakening. This durability is insane.
See, the Gorosei were worried about, like, the Gomu Gomu is one of the fruits that actually has the epithet of a god. You know who else has the epithet of a god? St. Charlos. I wonder what happens when he awakens.
They call him the god of endurance.
Apparently so. Here's a question.
What's up?
Sai, strong. Very strong.
Thank you.
Right. He can crack ice, jewel, continent. The thing that
stronger than Don Chinjiao,
which was on par with a prime Garp at the time.
It's kind of wild.
and
the scaling's goofy, but we accept it. We accept it.
Like, a lot of times when we get like a wombo combo, right? Because I'm trying to think of the last time, we had Luffy and Lucci doing this to a Seraphim. Seraphim was unfazed, ultimately survived. Charlos ultimately survived. Zoro and Kaku doing the same thing. Sanji and Zoro doing this to King and Queen. And now we have this attack that's touted to be Garp. Even Garp. Zoro saw this attack. Zoro saw this attack and took notes, by the way, guys.
All I gotta say is that you guys are like, man, this aura is going crazy with the hockey. Let me tell you, Sai's feet actually had aura back in Dressrosa.
And here's the thing.
Aura.
We didn't see Leo fight like that. Are we scaling Leo to Sai level here? Because when we put the pairs together, it's like They're putting comparable. I'm not saying Luffy and Lucci are but Luffy was in like Gear 4 when Lucci was doing doing his like awaken moves, right? So it's like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like maybe Oda's trying to say Leo can also split the ice jeweled continent.
Oh my gosh. It's funny because when I read this, or when I read this initially, I was like, oh wow, Sai did it. And Leo's there too. Like, he's got the tail hammer. I don't know if I want to scale Leo's tail hammer to the same as the drill dragon nail. But, you know, I bet it does some damage, right? Like, the tail of a Tontada is pretty strong. Those guys are, superhuman in a way, despite being so tiny?
All I'm gonna say is...
Dual attacks aren't always equal.
That's fair. But this could be, like Sanji's Zoro, you know? Leo is his Sanji, you know? Slightly weaker, but, you know, they're wombo combo. And the craziest part is, like, a lot of the times it's separate targets, but this is significant. Saint Charlos is the one tanking both of them. That's... Saint Charlos is up there with Kinemon in S tier durability.
That is insane. I think... As much as Oda says he doesn't like Celestial Dragons, I think he likes St. Charlos. He has plot armor.
Yeah,
he is Oda's punching bag. Even in Film Red, St. Charlos is there just to take L's.
He was in Film Red?
Yeah, St. Charlos was in Film Red, yeah.
What happened to him?
Uta immediately... I think St. Charlos was the first one that got slapped by Uta after the crew.
What?
Not like slap, but like, you know, Uta used their powers on him. Wait,
where was St. Charlos was at the concert?
Yeah. He wanted to capture Uta so that he could have a little a YouTube music button on in his room. Yeah, St. Charlos is there's not a person that goes by that he doesn't see as a slave, man. St. Charlos he's on something else.
Hey, that's why I have a few videos explaining what the Celestial Dragons lore is, their backstory. And St. Charlos, listen, if he comes back from whatever potato accordion state that he's in, do you think he's going to become beautiful? Like, do you think he's going to look like Doflamingo? Nah, he's going to come back busted still?
Yeah, I think he's still going to be busted.
Even Mosgard came back better looking.
But so the way Oda described Celestial Dragon appearances, though, was that it's based on their personalities.
Wait, he came out and said that in the SBS?
Yeah.
Oh.
He said that he said the reason why Celestial Dragons and nobles look ugly is because of their lifestyle and their personality.
Oh, that's so funny because I have the community dubbed it the trans Sanji theory, but it was basically a theory. Like, Sanji can change people and make them better people, and so he can make them better looking at the same time. And I didn't know that was in SBS. I could probably revisit that theory now.
Yeah, all these Celestial Dragons be looking scuffed because they're not living the best life they could, and that's why Mosgard looks better after he changed his personality.
Yeah, I forget if I actually quote. This is like 2021 when I made this video, so I wonder if I actually referenced that because I could have, but I might have just forgotten.
Yeah, it's funny that Oda just hates these guys so much that he makes them ugly, but yet he has them survive attacks like this.
Yeah, it's kind of depressing that they're like they murdered a Celestial Dragon, and then the headline's like attempted murder, which is like it gets confirmed immediately, and then they're like an Admiral's gonna show up for sure. And
what if St. Charlos is dead? But they replace St. Charlos with a clone of St. Charlos. St. Charlos 2.0.
What if he is dead and they just couldn't announce that?
Oh, yeah, that would be crazy too, huh?
Yeah, because then it's like... No, but then they would want to build this up. Like, Sai and Leo would become the world's worst criminals, right? They would surmount...
They actually would, right?
Yeah, like, no one's ever killed a Celestial from our knowledge at this point, right? Hitting is one thing, but, like, Luffy hit a Celestial, and it's on the books. And what, he only got, like, a 400 million boost, right? No, 200 million. He went from...
He was 300 post Enies Lobby, and then he became 400 million post Marineford, post Impel down, post Sabaody. So you could even say that hitting a Celestial didn't even scale Luffy's bounty at all.
Yeah, maybe they didn't. No, but they did report that. They did report that he did this, right?
Yeah, they reported. I mean, the Admiral showed up. I mean, it's
it's known that like a celestial dragon was like harmed or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just so funny how like they say
he should have got a bigger boost. Now that I think about it, I agree. Yeah. A boost immediately after Saboti.
Yeah, like on site, like someone should have been writing it down, like as it happened. Like, oh my god,
Charlos was gonna pay $500 million for a mermaid. You're telling me they couldn't toss a little bit in for Luffy's bounty?
Rosewald is cheap AF, bro.
Cheap, bro. He said, well, it's my son, not me.
Even crazier, Rosewald got hit too. And that's why I say that the two characters that are gods on Luffy's crew were the people that actually hit celestial dragons. So now that kind of bumps this theory that Sai and Leo are going to be gods too. But the point was that Usop was the other guy. Usop actually broke Saint Rosewald's suit, his glasses, I think, with his ass cheeks.
He maimed him like how Luffy maims his opponents at the very end. Yeah.
It was a funny thing because like Saint Rosewald was like, I think the girl is like, he's never even laid hands on St. Charlos himself, and St. Rosewald's like, I'm gonna gut all the women I have for some reason. He decides to
classic celestial dragon talk. I'm gonna kill all the people I have in my possession
for no reason. Right. Cool. And then Usopp's ass cheeks are just flying at him, and then he just gets slammed into the ground, and it's like, damn. Like back then, an admiral showing up meant something, and then here it's like an admiral's gonna show up for sure, and then it's like, ooh, oh no, like the two people who are boxing them are already here, like, and apparently they already dealt with them. Like we don't even know, because this is after they dealt with the admirals, right? So like Fujitora and Green Bull should show up here, but they're not, I guess, right? Like
it's such a weird situation for the admirals because they're pardoned by Saint Mosgard.
Oh, you know what Yeah.
So, like, even if Fujitora and Green Bull show up, it's like, they can't really attack Sai or Leo. But one person, or maybe not one person, but somebody that should show up is the God Knights, though. The God Knights should be the ones who make an appearance here, because back in 1054, Akainu says, yeah, like, they're the ones mediating this dispute here.
So
we might actually see them here.
I was going to say something else, but you're right. Like, You're 100% right. Like, someone shouting, oh no, a Celestial's murdered. If the Holy Knights in their own goddamn home but then it lends itself to the Celestial Dragons aren't that important. Like, it's an optics thing, and like the Gorosei are important. Like, would Saint Saturn bat an eyelash for Charlos dying? I don't know, considering Mosgard they didn't bat an eyelash that Homing died, right? Like, and Homing technically was a Celestial. He had Celestial blood. He was a Don Quixote, by the way. But at that light, I kind of realized, wait, it's not the Holy Knights, and it's not the Admirals, but it's an Admiral character. It's not Bogard, obviously. It's Garp. Garp is probably the one who shows up here and diffuses everything, because he's the one who ultimately ends up with Shirahoshi. He's the one who guides her all the way back home.
Oh yeah, Garp should be nearby. Yeah.
Yeah, and Lucci was like saying, like, or Vivi was like, oh, I'll wait for Garp or whatever. And it's not like Garp is the type to be sitting outside the meeting, right? Like, maybe, but he was listening to the meeting, right? Maybe the meeting convenes and then Garp is the one who shows up here, and he's the one who's like, yo, Revs, peace,
get out of here.
Yeah. Like he pulls out
of my sight.
Like, he flexes his Conqueror's Haki, because like apparently nobody in this entire arc has Conqueror's Haki at the moment to use. Like, Sabo apparently doesn't, because I would use that to diffuse all the God Knights, right? Like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like when characters who have Conqueror's Haki should be using it way more often than like we get, right? Like, because I don't know.
That would be too easy.
Yeah, but then you get awkward situations. The Holy Knights are like, oh, where's Sabo? I don't know where he is.
Hey, maybe Sabo had a little flashback to his family too. Maybe not his family. Maybe he had a flashback to like Dodon and the Mountain Bandits. And he's like, you know what? These guys are just trying to make a living. I don't want to. We'll let bygones be bygones, right?
I guess.
There exists that situation.
I feel like the Garp shows up and he just stomps, and then he just whoosh, and then everyone's like, oh, and then they just kind of like forget everything and then just like walk away. Like
going with their day. Like, all right, that was a fun reverie.
Yeah, and then Garp just stands in front of Shirahoshi's like, yeah, if you want to get her, you have to go through me now. And then everyone's just kind of like, yeah, it's probably not worth doing this. You know, I feel like that's his role here. I feel like that's always
if Garp shows up, and let's say Fukaboshi, Sai, Leo, like they weren't here. Do you think Garp would hit the Celestial Dragon? I think he would.
Yeah. Oh, and Mosgard would give him the order.
Mosgard doesn't even need to give Garp permission. I think Garp would hit him, and then Mosgard would give permission. Like, well, like Garp, like I didn't even say you could do it, but all right. Garp is under my protection now. Ooh.
Yeah. Like the thing is, if Fukaboshi did that, Mosgard would essentially be like, I have to claim Fishman Island now. Like I have to claim that as my domain.
Yeah. Oh, I think Garp might have even destroyed Kuma.
What do you mean?
Like because Kuma's protecting St. Charlos and Shirahoshi. I think Garp would have not only attacked St. Charlos, but he also probably would have destroyed Kuma. Like, imagine Morley and everybody else shows up, and they're like, oh, Kuma got the handcuffs. And then they see Kuma just absolutely gutted, like robot parts flying everywhere, and Garp just has his fist like this.
Yo, the thing is, like...
Yeah, that'd be wild.
Garp kind of just like, if he was here, I think this is honestly the better timeline, because the alternative is Garp hits Charlos and he lives, and then we have to say that Charlos is Yonko level.
Yeah, Charlos is Blackbeard level. He just over here. Oh no, he surpasses Aokiji's endurance.
Yeah. Like Charlos gets ran through. Like he's immediately like he's the future of the Marines now.
I'm convinced. Next time Luffy sees St. Charlos, it might be another Rob Bellucci situation where Luffy activates Gear 5th on sight.
No. He
says this man. I got to bring out all my powers for this one.
No, Charlos sees Luffy and he goes on the Kobe, like he whips out a hit on Luffy. That'd be crazy.
Oh no, Saint Charlos is Luffy's biggest opponent. If it's 1-on-1, always vote on Charlos, right?
This is the worst part.
People word on the street is that Charlos is that guy.
And then this is the worst part, Sai. Luffy hits him with the, damn, you're even tougher than Doflamingo.
No, stop.
You're the strongest celestial dragon I fought. Like,
no, he's like, oh, I know where Dofi got the heavenly demon title from. He was just borrowing it from you.
On the flip side, we get a parallel to Bellamy, who got the same like facial treatment. And so what we get with Bellamy is Bellamy like goading the punch because he's like, I need to change, turn a new leaf. I need my life ended by you because you're the one who showed me light. And then St. Charles is just like I don't know how he repeats the first situation, but he just starts shooting fish.
Oh my gosh. That'd be horrible. No, St. Charles activates Gear 5th and he clashes with Luffy on an equal level.
Luffy has a sentimental moments like, this isn't you, Charlos. I know you. Like with the Bellamy thing.
I know you, St. Charlos. You're a scumbag. Please come back. You don't belong in the cool realm.
And then Charlos goes like, this is what my world has been. I have to die by the way I am, my faith. And he gets punched again. And he survives.
There was a celestial dragon that gets a random power up, I feel like it might just be St. Charlos.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah, maybe not like a power up necessarily, but if there's like a great, like let's say the ultimate weapon, like the ancient weapon is in Marie Joie, if there was a more goofy character to find it and quote use it or use it for evil, I think it'd be St. Charlos.
I think as you're right. And I think as dumb as what I said sounds, look what happened to Mosgard. Mosgard was this irredeemable dude. And then he gets slapped up one time, spends a week with Otime. I have a whole video about what happened during that week. Bro. And it's just confusing, but then he comes back and he's this like changed dude, changed man, right? If Mosgard is like the previous iteration of a celestial dragon going through rehab, and we see Oda's doing this with like Lucci to a certain extent, it's like Charlos is probably going to be the current day Celestial Dragon that just like changes a new leaf, like sees a new world. As crazy as that sounds, and like I don't even know if that makes sense because Oda's like doubling down on like no at this point like quadrupling down. Yeah, quadrupling down it because it's Sabaody, it's Reverie, and then again here where he's just like, oh, I'm gonna capture Shirahoshi, and then it's like
I'm gonna get a fishman.
Yeah, and then it's like that was Mosgard. That was literally Mosgard went to Fishman Island against like Celestial Dragon like decree to capture Fishman on his own, chartered a ship, get slapped up, 1 week, changed man apparently, right? And it's like Charlos is probably going to be that guy, and I don't necessarily like it, but like yeah, I think he's going to be more important than
yeah.
I
could see it either extremes. He could either become a changed guy by the end of the series, or he could quintuple down and he gets like an ancient weapon or just something really important falls into Charlos's hands.
Yeah.
Like a game ender. Like, oh, like Luffy needs this and they can't find it, but oh, look, here's St. Charlos using the bathroom and then he finds it right there. What does he do now? Like, I feel like it's going to be something ludicrous because Oda keeps on bringing this man back. He shows up in the movies. He shows up in, pre-time skip, post-time skip. Like Charlos, like I said, he's Oda's punching bag.
Yeah, and apparently,
in the closet.
If the parallel exists, Mosgard spent time with Otahime, the sitting like monarch next heir, essentially, and Shirahoshi's like the next. Like, it'd be weirder to not make Poseidon like the dude's name is Neptune, and the next one's gonna be Poseidon, right? Like, it just kind of makes sense. And so like maybe. Oh god, this sounds. I feel like I'm gonna throw up saying this, but like maybe there's like a future where Charlos like spends time with Shirahoshi.
I could see that.
And then like Shirahoshi ends up turning him somehow. Like she uses the power of her heart to like change him somehow. Talk no jutsus him, just like her mom.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, if somebody has to do it, it probably should be a fishman, right?
Yeah.
A fishman or just like some random person off the street.
Yeah, and the thing is,
they need human interaction. Like, these guys are too sheltered. They're up in Marijois. They're surrounded by people who own slaves. All their friends own slaves. Like, if they're just surrounded by regular people, they could change.
This is a real thing, by the way. It's called affluenza, which is just a privileged a cop out in the court of law. But yeah, we created
affluenza should not exist. That's so cursed.
Affluenza should not exist, but the logic behind it can exist in certain circumstances, but they applied it way like there's like two people I know that I'm like that
not like it shouldn't exist, because I mean it does, but more so that it shouldn't be able to be used in a court of law.
Exactly. Yeah, at that point, because just claim them mentally ill, right? But they don't want to do that. Let's say they affluenza, right? Like, it's like,
yeah.
You mean
like if you guys sick. So to give you an example, there was one guy who was drunk driving. He crashes the car. He actually like takes lives. Absolute monster. Yeah. And then he claims affluenza, and the judge is like, yeah, that makes sense. The guy's too rich.
Sheltered.
He's sheltered. He doesn't know what human life is. Fair. Like that should not be an excuse. In the real world. And that's wild.
That's in the United States, from what I remember.
Yeah, and that was the United States.
The example that I know is foreign, and the guy wasn't drunk. And the thing is, it's like that guy is even crazier in terms of affluence than the one in the United States. And I'm like, damn, it's just crazy.
Celestial dragons still exist.
Yeah, they do. They
gotta knock them down.
Yeah.
All right, so one last thing we have before we hit King Cobra is the suplex of the giant Morley on Kuma. Kind of cool. Yeah. Morley's like crying. He's like, Kuma-chan, I'll help you. And then Karasu comes in with the keys, and that's pretty much the end of the segment. Any finishing thoughts on this segment?
It's kind of crazy to me that like that this is this how they subdued Kuma and they just like kidnapped him. They just like he just carried him off. Like, is that it? Like,
yeah, I thought that too, because Kuma's still hostile, right? Like, after they let go of Kuma's gonna be like blasting him, like going in.
Yeah, he has.
I don't really know the mindset yet.
At the end of the day, he could just be like, poof.
Yeah, like poof. I'm going back home.
Poof. Like, he could just poof all of them away, right? Like I don't know to what extent like this Pacifista version of Kuma knows how to use the pawpaw fruit, but like, hey, let me tell you, you have a broken ability. All these people, you don't need to hit them with like abilities. You just send them away. They're gone for 3 days apparently. Like that, like we don't know if that's always the case, but the Straw Hats were gone for 3 days, all of them. So like that, in terms of like CC, like in games and video games, like that's all broken CC, bro. Like
it's pretty good crowd control.
Yeah.
And he has AoE attacks. Like Kuma would be the perfect like League of Legends character, right?
Oh yeah, I would play him instantly.
Get rid of Udyr, put in Kuma.
Kuma would be so good. You combine Beppo and Beppo's Volibear, but like Kuma cracked. Kuma's cracked. And then
if we had a One Piece League of Legends game, that'd be actually kind of fire.
Yeah,
I'd be a Nell mid main.
Oh god, Mihawk and Zoro, that mid lane or whatever lane matchup, the top lane matchup, insane.
Gross. What else is gross is King Cobra. I tried to find whatever segue I could. I was like, I'm gonna take the first segue I can find.
You could have said, like, honestly, in terms of tanks, I would pick Charlos because he's a crazy tank. And speaking about Celestials, we got another crazy tank. Look at him rolling up on his tank wheelchair. Like, I don't know, like, you just went up to,
King Cobra isn't a Celestial though. He's a fallen Celestial par. Come on.
Yeah, but he has the blood. That's all that matters.
It doesn't matter. No, it only matters if you live in the Holy Land.
Wait, so you're gonna take away Doflamingo's lineage?
What do you mean?
The CP0 recognize him as a Celestial,
bro. Well, that's because he knows the secret of Mirage. They did not care about homing whatsoever. All right, homing was like, hey, guys, I messed up. Can I come back? Can I be a Celestial? I turned on my ID chip, but can I come back? And they said no. The only reason they care about Doflamingo's Celestial Dragon heritage is because he has something on him.
Not necessarily, because they could kill him. Like, at this point, right? They have... No one can tell me the Admirals couldn't kill Doflamingo.
No, they could totally kill him. But what if Doflamingo's a slippery guy? Who maybe he's like, hey, if I die, I have 10 people from, 10 different regions of the world that'll leak this secret. Like... Doflamingo's just the guy they don't want to deal with. Like, they did not care about his Celestial Dragon heritage.
The way I see it is I think they went... Like, because they literally had to retcon their news, right? Like, because they were like, oh, the Warlord status is taken off. Or, no, there was something. And then
they retconned the news for Doflamingo.
Yeah, and then so, like, the way I see it is like, sure, somebody knows the history, some special thing. They're dead. They're dead. Like, whoever that is dead. The only reason why Doflamingo isn't is because he has the Celestial Dragon connection as well.
Bro, they do not... Well, that too, but... Okay, what Celestial Dragon connection are you talking about, though? Like, he was maybe, like, 5 years old when he left the Holy Land. No, he has zero connection. I doubt he's, like, calling up his homeboys at Marie Joie and being like, hey, man, you want to go for barbecue tomorrow? Like, he has zero connection. He literally just has... he just has the secret.
I don't know why I thought like Clarence from 8 Mile, like just
if they cared about. Oh my God, Clarence! He came from really good parents, man. Come on. But here's the thing, though. Like, if they cared about Doflamingo's bloodline, the minute Luffy attacked him, Fujitora would be like, okay, I gotta save this man. Doflamingo wouldn't be an Impel down. They would have let him back into the Holy Land. Doflamingo, his whole goal was to go back, but he couldn't. So he said, I'm just gonna destroy the world. They did not care about the lineage.
It was a secret. Like, they couldn't let people know that Doflamingo was also a Celestial Dragon.
Bro, another thing about them not caring about the bloodline, the Nefertaris, bro. Like, they straight up kill Cobra. They don't care about Vivi's country.
Come on, we don't know that. We don't know if they killed him.
The bloodline does not matter. It's like a boys' club. This is just a gentleman's club gone wrong.
The thing is, outside of this room, nobody knows that they're Celestials.
What? The Nefertaris?
Yeah. Outside of this room, they don't know that the Nefertari's lineage goes back to like the original kings, right? They don't
really.
That's not like common. Wait, based on this chapter, that's not like a. That's not. Is it? Maybe that is.
We
right?
learned about this beforehand, right?
We did learn about it beforehand,
because going into this chapter, when King Cobra was like, oh yeah, 800 years ago, we didn't become one of those families. It was like, oh yeah, thanks Cobra for like the refresher. We already knew this.
That's one of the things, right? Like,
when did they first mention this? Actually, like I gotta look it up now. Chapter 722. I feel like it is common, like, because anybody can come to this. Maybe not anybody can come to the throne room, but you know, if you want an audience with the Gorosei, you come to the throne room and then you see the swords up there, and you're like, oh yeah. 50,
yeah, but
19.
Like even Stelly
was here, right?
Yeah, but Stelly had to get the history rundown there. Like he didn't necessarily
do
know
his homework. Right, I feel like it would be common knowledge because, like, you talk about the celestial dragons. Like, I'd be damned if they don't teach the celestial dragons in school.
Well, I don't know how much they teach about the celestial dragons other than the gods or whatever. Like, they indoctrinate them that way. They created the world, but like, I would think about it the same way we like in our schools. It's like, you know, it's like, oh, George Washington. We don't know shit about him. You know what I mean? Like,
hey, we know his name though. That's all that matters.
And that's the thing is, technically, Lily's name isn't common knowledge to the point where the Gorosei in chapter 908 were like, they had to be debriefed on the Nefertari. They were like, wait, isn't that the traitor? Like, isn't that the family that didn't come in? And like, oh, so they're traitors. So even the Gorosei was kind of like not on the thing about the Nefertari. There's a certain separation barrier of what the regular celestial dragons even know. So the Nefertari being common knowledge, it might not even be for, like, the Celestials might not even know. So that would imply that what Doflamingo knows is actually really, really, like it's not something Mosgard knows about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Maybe in the grand scheme of things, it will. Like maybe we'll get to a plot point where, like, it actually does matter. Like, oh, like, he got it from this certain channel and, you know, like, this is really important. But as it stands right now, if Oda wants to never mention how Doflamingo knows about the Nefertaris or if everybody knows about the Nefertaris, I don't think that would drastically change the story.
Yeah. Oh, well, and the Gorosei part here is it's interesting because in 908 they seem like not super knowledgeable about it. Then they're like, the Nefertari line did not move here. The queen, they refer to the queen, and the reason you know, I skipped ahead. We'll go back and cover the earlier stuff, but they say the same thing about the queen that they said about the Gomu Gomu, and they knew the Gomu Gomu's change name and the Gomu Gomu's end name.
Yeah.
To Nika, and so like, is that a parallel here? Like they're like, oh, like it was lost in the annals of history.
I think they just don't want to say it because, like, the thing is, if they don't say like the name of it, right? Yeah. Then if they say the name of it, then Cobra will know for sure. Right. No, but like they're trying to give like as little information as possible.
Meaning, is at this point, is it possible that the Lily person just had a name change and they're just hiding it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could have happened.
And how far does that secret go? Because if you're hiding the Nefertari line, this person left and they're acting like this, and we're figuring out if the Nefertari thing is common. Like, is it common knowledge that the Celestial Dragons know about the Nefertari line and Cobra just doesn't, and they all know? Does that mean that, like, the Lily person, like, they know exactly what happened to her afterwards, and they change their name? They're protecting them. Are they just emu, right? Like, and we discussed in the live reaction why it doesn't make sense that it's emu, which is funny because I think most of my comments off rip was just like, wait, like Lily is just emu. And I was like, and then they, like, it was very confidently said that way. I was like, I mean, it could be, but like, I feel like the other routes make a lot more sense at this point, right? Like, it's just weird. This chapter is so weird in like how it disseminated the information to us.
I'd be fine if Emu was Lily or Lily, however you want to pronounce the name.
Another controversial point.
Yeah, another big thing. Yeah. But I mean, it could work. I just feel like we need more information. Like right now, like they could be them, and you know it have some impact. But you know, the question of why, how, when, like so many questions do still pop up. I feel like we just need more answers.
What do you think his end goal was with this? Like, it's one thing to like not think that you're gonna die, but like,
yeah, like even if he gets the answer, like what would happen after that, right? Like, oh, he learns the truth and then they kill him and then that's it. Like maybe he was being really like we talked about last time, where like maybe he's just really optimistic about this whole thing. Like, oh, I'm just gonna get the answers and then I'm gonna walk out of here. I'll tell everybody.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I'm like, because you can say he's dumb, right? Which we'd have, and but then like I'm going back to like the Bonnie kind of line of logic. Like, what did he want to get out of this? Like, he went in armed, no guard up, nothing, wheeled, not even someone to wheel him in. All it would take is Sabo's pipe to just do him down. Like, at the end of this whole portrayal, like, he could just die from the heart attack since he was dying on the ship way here. And like, did he just want the answers to and then die? Like, or was he planning on telling the, like, getting the answers and then doing something with it? Like, what? Because that's another route where I'm like, what would he do with this information? Because like, is this information actionable? I don't think so. So, and then that's not another place where I'm confused on, because it's like, did Oda just write him in to just give the readers the answers to these questions? But
he's a plot device, Par.
But then it's a weird plot, because we're not like gonna get the D-Clan. We're not gonna get we didn't get the Lily thing, right? Like, maybe Eam is just
well, yeah. I feel like Eam could drop it, right? Like, the Gorosei are hesitant; they can't really talk about anything. Whereas Eam, who's gonna twist Eam's arm and be like, "Hey, don't talk about the D-Clan." Like, if somebody were to divulge information about the D-Clan and all that stuff, it would definitely be Emu, right?
But then that's also interesting, given two things, right? You're on the boat that the end of this chapter leads into the end of 908, right? Like, because when Emu thumps and it sits down, that's like the beginning of the double spread that ends chapter 908, where Emu walks up to the thing and steps down. Behind the Gorosei is King Cobra in 908. We just didn't see King Cobra there. And then, so this chapter ends, Emu sits, already says like Lily or whatever, then sits down, and then the Gorosei go like, "Oh, what have you decided what light to be stricken or whatever?" And then Eam, I guess, gives a response, because then in that line of logic, it kind of just seems like they just ignored Cobra for a moment there, right? That's how it's playing out for you, or you see it different?
I see it different. I feel like this is taking place at a different time.
You think this is a different time?
Yeah, I mean, the Reverie is like a whole like week-long event.
Yeah, but 908 was at the end, and then right before 908, where Emu does that, the Gorosei are going to meet like Cobra, like they're walking towards the, like, oh, like Cobra called us in for a meeting, right? And so like they're walking in to like prepare for that. I'm assuming Cobra has to leave the Reverie, like the conversation. So Cobra leaves the Reverie, like the round table, goes there. And then this is where it just coincides. The end of 908 and the end of 1084 are the same scene, right? So then what order would you think this would be then?
I feel like,
Because why would they be talking about Cobra as if this happened before 908, that end scene?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, then again, the Gorosei were already in this room. So this could, like I said, this still could have taken place before. This still could have taken place before Cobra shows up. Like, Eam sitting down at the throne, and they say, "Hey, we're at your service. Have you decided what light to exterminate?" Mm-hmm. And then Eam leaves, and then they turn back around, and then they're waiting for King Cobra to arrive. And then you hear the knock on the door. The guards are like, "Hey, you gotta leave Chaka and Pell out here." And then King Cobra comes in, and then boom, the Gorosei are just already here, standing, waiting for him.
And then Eam walks back and does the same walk up for like, it's weird, right? Because then
and I mean, he could. So the thing is, like, this could be 908. Yeah, Cobra could be behind there, and the five elders just totally ignore him, which I don't think is crazy either. Because, like, if you have, like, some random, fallen celestial dragon king, no-name, like, wheelchair dude behind you,
that you're going to kill anyways.
Eam, it's like, well, let me turn my attention to Eam and not care about King Cobra. Mm-hmm. I feel like that would work. I don't think it... Yeah, I mean, it'd be fine. Yeah, it wouldn't be, like, a bad fit. Does it have to happen? I don't think so.
I think both of our routes, though, would discount the idea that Lily was the light that needs to be stricken, right? Because in my count, Lily is said before the Gorosei ask, and then in your account, these are two completely separate situations. When he sits down and says Lily, that's not necessarily related to what they asked in 908.
Oh, well, then again, wait here. I'm looking at the 2 pages. The standing order of the Gorosei are different, so it's a different time.
Here, let me see. The standing order of the Gorosei. Let's see from the butt cheeks what we can figure out here.
Yeah, the order is different.
Is it? Let's see. So we have the black coat guy.
So in the middle of us, we have Gandhi, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in the middle, we have Gandhi.
What? Oh, wait, hold on.
And then in 908, Gandhi is middle left.
What if, like...
What's up?
What if it, like, because this is a Threevil. I forget if he used this specifically, but I think he was saying that, like, because it has the planetary connections, because Saturn, so, like, they would be lined up in order of, like, their, proximity. So, like, what if they had to rearrange themselves to what we see in 908? And I'm like, wait, hold on.
Cobra's like sitting back there. Eam shows up, and they're like, "Quick, guys, the planets are lined up like this.
Get into formation."
No, that'd be so silly.
Yeah, that would be silly. But I'm kind of thinking about it because Threevil had that order kind of thing, and I'm like, wait, what if that order actually kind of like matters? Because they kneel, right? There's some kind of like worship kind of esque reverence here. I feel like when it comes to the Pope, you do have to do order. Like if you're in the wrong order, I feel like there's some kind of thing about that. Like you have to go with like tenure, I think. Like if you were, I forget what it is. I don't know if it was that or it was something like another piece of fiction. I might be conflating the two, but it wouldn't be weird if order did matter.
I'm looking at the solar system right now.
Yeah. Oh, good call.
Either way,
Saturn,
no matter how you look at it, Saturn's placement is really strange.
Where would Saturn be in the solar? Would it be the furthest, or is Jupiter?
He'd be the furthest because we already have Uranus and Neptune, so I'm excluding them from potential Gorosei names.
Yes. Yeah. What about
Saturn
Jupiter?
Would be the furthest.
Where's Jupiter?
Jupiter. Let me see.
Yeah.
Right next to Saturn. So Jupiter then Saturn.
Jupiter then Saturn. That's 908, right?
No, it's Saturn and then Jupiter.
Oh, right.
So 908 and 1084. They're standing in different orders.
Yeah,
I do believe this is different times.
Yeah, that's a solid point that they because
unless they just start playing musical chairs like Cobra, like we got to walk around you in circles and then we got to hop around in front of Eam. Yeah, like I really do think these are different times.
I wonder. I realize there's a theory that I brought up before. Oh no, I brought it up on the live stream. The swords, technically Saturn thing, like the sword idea that I had. Even
the way they like talk to Eam is like the dialogue's completely different.
You're saying the great emu versus
and then they don't say it because over here they say great Eam. King Cobra is still present.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, one, we don't have the Viz translations, but the great Eam, right? Like that part. I'm trying to think if we have another example of Oda doing something like this,
where he just leaves out an entire thing of dialogue.
Not necessarily, because it's not necessarily leaving dialogue out, but it's manga panels, right? There are things that can fit in between. Because what we get is it's a focus on Eam walking up, the great emu thing. I'm curious if the Viz translates the great emu ? Exclamation that I have at TCB. I don't know how OP Scans does it. That could fit the great Eam, right? Like, because in 908, when they translated it, it's like a place of reverence versus here, I think they're assuming a what? But then when you also think about it, because they have a question mark in the TCB, and I'm saying that because like I'm trying to think of like when if you had like this all powerful knight, right, or king, like God, right? If your like a constituents or whatever like questioned you, that's like grounds to die. You know what I mean? They wouldn't do that. It would always be reverence. So that might be why here TCB changed that, and Viz they might go with like the same kind of verbiage of the great emu. The King Cobra is still present part. If Oda wanted to create this like this is the this is coinciding now. Yeah, he would obviously hide the King Cobra thing in the same way where even when you look at the perspective of like where we see the Gorosei, it's like it would be like right cutting out Cobra, right? I don't know if the dialogue is meaningful to discount this logic though.
So are you going with the theory that the King Cobra 1084 and 908 takes place at the same time? Is that where your head's at then?
Yes, I'm going with like while Eam is walking up in 908,
they rearrange themselves.
They are that is when they're like addressing like Cobra. When do they recognize? So they notice Cobra Eam by the time Eam is like on that first step. So then that's where if you look at 908, yeah, in 908 we don't even we do. We see Eam like right there, right? Like at that like the lower stair thing.
Yeah.
So that's when the Gorosei recognize them. We see the Oh Great Emu thing right afterwards, which follows right here. And then is it said? We don't know who says it in the chapter on 1084. When in 908, after they say Oh Great Emu, they in between them looking and then them kneeling, right? That's where the King Cobra is still present. And then that's where also the Wa, like from King Cobra, and then the Lily thing, then the thump that at the end of 1084 is the beginning like of the five elders at your service, because then you see the thump right there.
I mean, I think that's fair. I mean, like, let's say they do rearrange themselves, they play musical chairs, and they, for some reason, get in a weird order from here to there. Yeah. What purpose would King Cobra being in 908 serve? Like, King Cobra just witnesses the light extinguishing part? Like what would this serve if King Cobra is actually here?
Emu just ignored Cobra. After they said that thing, Cobra's just like shell shocked. And we don't like, and that's why I was joking. It's like, does he just have a heart attack? Cause like his whole world just crumbles around him. But at the end of the day, it's like, what was Cobra's end goal? Because if you know what Cobra's end goal is, then you can kind of figure out like where the conversation would be directed here. But if Cobra's end goal was just, hey, what about my great great grandmother and
what about the will of D
and the will of D, right? Like then it's kind of like there doesn't really need to be an outside purpose to why Cobra is present at the end of 908. Maybe we just get a lore dump from Eam. Eam just answers the question to Cobra, like, and then outside of that, they don't know that, but we know that now, you know?
The major, like, hangups I have is, one, the dialogue doesn't match up to 908. It could if you omit and add certain things. And then two, just
are you looking at OP scans? Let me see the OP scans.
I'm looking at OP or TCB.
Okay, you're looking at TCB.
Yeah, it doesn't line up. The Gorosei would also have to rearrange themselves in a way. It would be fine if Cobra was here. Like, I'm not like saying that's a horrible idea. Yeah. I just think that
the main
wouldn't really matter.
I think the main detractor for what you were saying there, the dialogue to me just makes sense because all you do is just you cut the on 1084, you cut out the three panels, and then you just then it just lines up with 908. That's literally how it would be. You just take the Great Emu. If Viz ends up putting the Oh Great Emu thing, just like 908, then it's just like confirmed to me. But the main thing, what you said, is the rearrangement, because that is like something that Oda, one, would probably want us to pay attention to. Two, it would be like, why would Eam walk out twice? But then three, if Eam, let me see 908. 908 is they're going to a meeting, like they're talking about the Arabasta stuff, right? Then they say, Great Emu, they have arrived. Right?
Yeah,
that's what the person says.
I really think this is different times.
It would line up, because then if they weren't, to me, it looks like they're showing up here for the Cobra meeting, right? Do they know that? Okay, so maybe they also wanted to have a meeting with Eam, and then Cobra was still there, And there's just like the secretary, Eam's secretary just fumbled it, or whoever that person is. Like, oh, they've arrived.
Also, there's no pedestal there. The sword's not. Wait,
what do you mean pedestal?
The pedestal with the Den Mushi. Like that's not a 908.
Let me see the 908, because wasn't it all the way on the right side? We don't see the right side of the thing.
That is fair too. I mean,
yeah.
Like,
I mean,
this
Oda
could just
actually
be the
put,
five
like,
elders. This could just be the five elders wanting a meeting with Imu to find out what the light is. Like, it looks like they're just ready, right? Like, I would love to hear what you guys think in the comments too. Like, do you think that this is taking place as the same meeting as the meeting we see in 908?
Wait. Wouldn't it make sense that the person gives Imu the Den Mushi? Like, sets that up? Great Imu, because if Imu was listening onto Den Mushi the entire time, they wouldn't need like an announcement like, oh, they've arrived, right? Like, wouldn't it make sense that this person that meets up with Imu says, great Imu, they've arrived, they're listening, and then once the conversation gets to whatever point that, like, the meaning of D or whatever, or they talk, the letter is probably it. That's when Eam's like, all right, time to go, you know? And then that's why they that's why when they were like, oh, King Cobra is still present. Well, that was probably Eam's decision. They were probably listening in, right? Well, not probably. We know they were listening in. They chose that time to come in. And then they say Lily. Because we also have to explain, because they were hearing the Lily part. Yeah, so they were listening in, and then it would line up, I feel like.
I don't know. I mean, I still have a lot of hangups with that one. Like I said, I could see it happening, but we would have to, like, either retcon or add some things to, like, make it fit.
Okay, here's
and it wouldn't, like I said, it wouldn't really add much in the grand scheme of things. Like, oh, cool, King Cobra sees who's gonna get extinguished.
I think the main reason would be if King Cobra was there,
yeah,
and he heard into it, like, we could just get a conversation between Gorosei and Eam, right?
Yeah, they could just, like, totally ignore King Cobra.
No, but, like, meaning, let's say in 908, what you're saying, it's completely separate. They say the stricken light thing. The Gorosei would never question. So we would not get any exposition on the decision-making, any reasoning. Afterwards, we just see, like, oh, that's unfortunate, right? That's what they said about, like, before 1060, right? So the purpose that Cobra would have would be that from this light being stricken, then Cobra would be able to ask questions. And then because at the same time, we both agreed that the prior part of this is kind of just like, for us, like the conversation that Cobra's having with the Gorosei, it's like it's not benefiting Cobra. It's not benefiting a character outside the Gorosei. It's exposition for the reader, right? So that's why Cobra's, if that carries on, then yeah, the light being stricken thing, Cobra, the Gorosei won't quite, they'll be like, oh, Leloucia, cool, done. Whatever it is, Sabo, whatever you think it is. But then if Cobra's there, you'd be like, wait, what? What's happening? And then you open up the dialogue of, like, whatever's happening. And then it could tie into the Lily stuff. It could tie into the Void Sentry stuff. That's probably, because if we're looking at Cobra as a royal monarch tied to the Void Sentry, wondering why someone is lost to the annals of history and lost to, like, Void Sentry, then it would make sense that whatever this light thing would also, like the stricken of light thing, it would parallel back to something relevant to Cobra's part, that being valuable to us. And the last thing that I was going to ask you, because I'm still kind of confused on this.
What's up?
This chapter does a lot of weird things. Like, we don't know if Karasu is fighting Fujitora prior, but this started as Sabo's flashback.
Yes, I was about to bring this up because this is the one reason why I can see your side on why this is the same time. So, you know how they're talking about, like, what should be strucken down, and then boom, they defeated Leloucia or cleanse Leloucia.
Yeah.
Since we know that Sabo does arrive to this room, maybe Sabo hears it too. Maybe King Cobra's like, hey, what is it? And then Eam's like, oh, I'm gonna destroy Leloucia. And then that's why Sabo goes to Leloucia to save the people.
Yeah.
That's the one reason why I think this could happen, but
that was my original theory. The only part
we
that
would
was
still
weird
have to,
was
like,
Cobra.
mix in the dialogue and, like, the Gorosei members playing the musical chairs.
Yeah,
I feel like that's such a strange thing to, like, retcon.
And then here's the other part, right?
Yeah.
Because if you, like, in the other line of logic, Cobra happens first, then they do the light stricken, right?
Yeah.
So Cobra's dead body's there, and then they have Sabo over it, and what if it's a fake or not? Like they stage that or whatever, you know.
Or,
and then
I thought it was like the other way around, where it's like the Gorosei members meet Im, and then Im leaves, and then he like comes back. He comes back at a later time.
But then they wouldn't expect Im, right? Because then they would say, I mean, we have to wait for the officials, but then they're like, King Cobra is still present, which kind of implies they were expecting Im. Im just came early, whereas if they already talked to Im, and then Im showed up at the Cobra meeting, they would be like, wait, why are you here? You know what I mean? Like, they'd be like, wait.
Well, it's like, why are you here? Like, King Cobra's still here. Like, he's present.
Yeah,
so
why
did he show up again?
I think the last like last week's chapter, like the Viz changed a lot of like the intonation of the dialogue between, we talked about the Dragon Sabo conversation. I feel like that's also gonna happen here. And it's not on the scans teams. This is just something that like Stephen Paul is gonna like call up Oda and be like, what, how do you want this to be said? Because like
call up Oda's editors. Yeah,
like an exclamatory statement could be said in a question, it could be said in surprise, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're like the nuance of that is kind of important here. But the Sabo thing, right? Because if this is all Sabo's flashback and he saw this, which we know he saw who's sitting on the empty throne, I feel like it would make sense. One, that would make sense that he's in this situation, right? Because we also get the image of him standing over Cobra's body. So it would
Sabo
make
has
more
to show up here
in this one. So this is his flashback, which would also mean that, again, like you were saying, if the Lelucia or whatever Sabo heard from 908 would have to be all in one meeting, unless they're just like, that's the other thing, like how is Sabo even eavesdropping in this? But like, we don't have to talk about that, but like oh man, that's a weird one. But I think if this is Sabo's entire flashback, and there we did talk about in the live stream how it'd be like the courtyard, the Morley, Karasu, Sabo wasn't there, so that's a detractor from this all being his flashback. But you know what actually I realized?
What's that?
In the flashback panel, it goes away from the black. Like for a moment. It's such a weird thing. Like there's just a random moment of the white. You know how the black like the page indicates that we're in a flashback? And then in the double spread, it fades away from the black for a second. I don't know what that means, but that's
an artistic touch.
It could be. I just know that Oda does use that to indicate like when we're transitioning to a flashback, within a flashback, he goes from like gray to black. And then when we're going back to current time, he goes back to white.
Yeah.
That's an interesting thing. But
when it comes to One Piece, it's like we can either apply a lot of logic to it, or we can just like put a mental gap there, you know, like maybe it's nothing.
Yeah. What do you think about the next chapters then? Because I think on the live stream, we talked a lot about the theories about like what spun out about this, like all this stuff. But I'm glad we sat down and really like try to figure out like which way is this, because I feel like which way it is does determine what comes next. Because if it's your situation, then we probably don't get Void Century information. If it's my way, we get a little bit, not necessarily a flashback. And if it's your way, then we just like carry
what
on.
I think is going to happen. Mm-hmm. I think we'll carry on this conversation. We'll learn all about Lily, what happened to her. Maybe even like an inkling of the will of D. I don't think we're going to get like a full-on Void Century flashback yet. I would love to be proven wrong, but I still think it might be too early for us right now. But I wouldn't be surprised if Oda gives us like a teaser to it.
Yeah, the timeline. Oda's playing with timelines so hard right now. Like, I think my current favorite idea though is that like whatever happened to Lily is essentially the same thing that happened to Vivi, and that like we see Vivi with Wapol and Morgans, and in the Void Century. And so in current times, they're saying like Vivi disappeared, right? In the same line, they're saying like, oh, we don't know what happened to the queen. She left, but like she's not here. She didn't stay. She didn't take up residence here. So like in the same light here with Vivi, they're like, she's not here, she didn't make it back home, so there's that parallel. And the thing is, it's like what I was saying about the Bonnie thing. Bonnie meeting up is the time power that exists, and that could very well aid Bonnie or Vivi and whoever else in escaping, making it out. In the same light, we do, like, there's Toki from the Void Century would be the time person, who would be the easiest, like, known explanation of how you make someone literally disappear. She's done that before, and then they would be concurrent timeline wise, right? Like Void Century, Celestial Dragon, Toki being like, you know, that the implication there is like, one, Toki wasn't on Wano, but like makes sense that she, like, that time power exists. I would imagine like there's some kind of connection between a lot of these people. And then she's also Amatsuki. Amatsuki was probably a royal family at that point, right? Because like it's Kozuki, Amatsuki meaning heaven moon. So that, you know, I feel like that might be like a soft, like that might be like, if we were gonna get information, it's probably not the Toki thing, but it's probably something that lends itself to, because then that would also explain like the T-Teats thing, because there was a few people that, including myself, that was like, maybe TT is just Lily, and she just ended up passing away like all the other Void Century people.
Dang,
like,
she said, I'm gonna keep it in the family.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it, but it'd be, you know, when Toki saw Odin and it's like, you know what, something about this just feels right.
Yeah, something about getting with my grandson is just A1.
Like who knows? The Egyptians did this. The Egyptians did this.
Yeah, it's rooted in history. Oda's a madman.
Yeah, I mean,
like there was a guy in Alabama that got with his sister, and Oda took inspiration from this.
Hey, people are pulling to the Egyptian thing like, oh, they revered the sun god and the Nefertari family specifically. You know what else they did back then? Married within. Like the Celestial Dragons, so I wouldn't put it past it that Vivi's mom and dad were one and the same.
You heard it here first, guys. That's a Par original. Check it. Don't Google Vivi x Cobra anytime soon.
Oh no,
that one's cursed.
Cobra, the husband that Vivi he was waiting for the entire time, was himself. Oh no, I'm not gonna even finish that.
Yeah, when Cobra asked if Vivi has any suitors, and there's a whole list of applicants waiting for Vivi's hand in marriage, it's actually just his own application. He probably like, hey Pel, copy my ID, send this to Vivi, give me a different name.
Yeah,
that's so cursed.
I'm excited though. I'm
excited.
Like, this is something that I wasn't expecting with the chapters to be like so stumped with like timeline wise, because there's like people can be confident as they want and be like, yeah, this is obviously it, and you can benefit from the hindsight when it ends up being that way, but there's a lot of people that are confident and they don't necessarily all agree, and I feel like that's happened so many times recently.
I thought the chapter was I thought it was okay. It didn't really it didn't really like excite me as much as some of the other chapters.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just because like I feel like everything we've seen thus far is they're all things that we all expected.
It's less blue ball than last chapter, but it's more ball than blue. You know what I mean? Like
it's more ball than blue.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah.
Like it's like I said earlier, like King Cobra talking about like the families. It's like, okay, we already knew that part. You know, Shirahoshi, the attempted murder of St. Charlos, we saw that coming. There's Bonnie and Sabo, we knew they were gonna meet.
Yeah.
Like I think the craziest part is that Cobra meets Eam.
And the letter. I think the letter is important for
the letter is gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
But then again, like what could the letter even mean though, right? Like, because the letter is apparently so vague that King Cobra's asking for a translator. Yeah, he's like, hey guys, like what does this even mean? Like
that's what I was gonna say. It's like the letter is
like
important,
Lily did not tell anything.
It's also not important. It's important. I think the context of the letter is more important than what the letter probably says. Like the fact that it was a letter, not like poneglyph writing or whatever. Like you know, they have a poneglyph on Alabasta. Like how did that end up there, right? Like if she, Celestial Dragon, didn't make it there, but she also didn't make it home, why did they end up with the poneglyph? Like, you know, like there's like the context of I think this chapter changed a lot of context, and that's also something that's important because like I have a lot of videos that like inferred a lot of these details. Some of it was supported, and some of them shifted a little bit. But I think at the end of the day, like you said, it's going like the route that makes a lot of sense, except for like some things like Bonnie and Sabo and the whole.
We just nod our heads at that one. It's all good.
Yeah, like sure. Like if Sabo's listening in on the Gorosei, sure. It's all good. Like yeah, Sabo's just that.
He probably has a Denden Mushi on Cobra or something.
Yeah, like
just like how Im has a random Denden Mushi just like in the water cooler. Like Sabo has one too.
Yeah, something like that.
Well, with that being said, hey, wait, are you good?
Yeah, we're good.
Oh, I heard your mic like knock, and I was like, oh god, like what happened?
Oh no. There's just the phone's ringing in the background, but I don't think it's catching on the recording.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Did you hear my Amber Alert earlier?
No, I didn't.
Oh, nice. It was like my phone's like right here, and I was like, oh god, like it's like beeping super loud. I can't stop it. People are getting kidnapped.
People need to be saved.
Yeah, people need to be saved. And with that being said, hey, thank you, Par, for joining us again, or should I say Leo? Thanks for joining us again. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Please consider liking, commenting, and subbing down below. And we will catch you guys not next week, but the week after, because there's no chapter next week.
But you can catch us on the 50/50 or
on the 50. Yeah, there we go. The 50/50 podcast.
Yeah.